kitchen. Typically I'm in the kitchen with somebody or teaching somebody, but today I'm making these dishes for people, so I just thought I have everything prepped. I would give you guys a quick tutorial on how to make a great frittata. What I love about frittatas, especially in the new year, we just hit 2025. I think it's like the second week of January. And do you know that January 10th happens to be when everybody stops their New Year's resolution, supposedly? So I know low carbs is definitely a thing that people strive for, and so that's what the inspiration of the frittata is. Essentially, other than like the tomatoes with their natural sugars and maybe a little bit of the asparagus or zucchini might have a little bit of carbs, but other than that, it's a very low carb dish, essentially almost no carbs. So I'm gonna just show you how I throw these frittatas together. I've already done all the prep for the most part, but I wanna show you how I do the custard part and the cheese part and the milk part. And then I have the stuff, what I call the stuffing, to go in already done. And I'll go over what that is with you. But one of the things about Ambie's Kitchen that I love is I just try to teach complex recipes, but that you would be able to do and you wouldn't be like so intimidated to do. The wonderful friend that I have filming this, she would beg to differ because she's filming this and she's like, no, I'm not doing this. But I do feel like if you want to navigate in the kitchen and you want to make a breakfast, this is something that you could conquer because it's a lot of just prepping and mixing, and you can't really mess it up unless you did like a tablespoon of cayenne pepper when it calls for a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. So those are where you could really like make big mistakes, but other than that, I just don't feel like you could make huge mistakes with this. But you can tell me in the comments if you think I'm crazy and if you think this is complex. I think it's like, on a scale of 1 to 10, I think it's like a 7. But you let me know what you think in the comments below. So Ambie's Kitchen comes from a nickname that I've been given, and I'm Amber, and it comes from just a nickname that I've been given. But also one of my nicknames in the kitchen is LPD, which stands for Little Pauladine, because I do love butter, I do love cheese, I do love all the fattening things, which is why I like to eat low carb. So that can kind of explain a little bit why I love this recipe, because it's so yummy, which my camera friend is gonna get to experience this today. It's so yummy, but it's really not that bad as far as filling or a lot of carbs. So let's get started. So in this bowl, I have eggs from my chickens, and these eggs are just your regular, we have several different chickens, but I made sure and did, so I did 12 plus 20 plus 4, so there's 24 eggs in here, and I'm making 3 frittatas. So this is the pan that I'm using. So if you're gonna use a bigger pan than this, you're gonna need to change that. So if you take the 24 divided by 3, you're looking at 8 eggs per dish. So if you're just making one, just go with 8 eggs. And then I'm gonna do about a cup and a half of milk. But if you were making one, so I do this because I like to make them for people. But if you're just making one, I would just go with half a cup of milk. So I'll go over that again. Let's go over that again. 8 eggs, half a cup of milk if you're doing one. If you're making multiples, 8 eggs and a cup and a half. So I'm just gonna eye that half a cup. And when you're making a quiche or frittata or an egg casserole, this is called the custard. So you just basically, I'd normally just use a fork, but, ooh, that's kind of high. Ooh, that's kind of high. Let me just try. I guess I just have this one. So you want to make sure you have a big enough bowl to, my mixer's pretty fast. But the reason I'm using the mixer is because it's just much quicker. If I were to beat all these, it would take me so much longer. But if I was making one, I would just beat the eggs. fun of it because my kitchen refrigerator, fridge, whatever, if you're in the South, fridge. I don't know, maybe that's not a Southern thing. You think that's a Southern thing? Fridge?
I don't know.
I don't know. You can tell me that in the comments below too. So what I love to do is things that don't need to be sauteed, just throw them in the custard. So green onion, tomato, cheese, which is the cheese, those things don't have to be sauteed. So anything that, jalapenos, anything that you like, if you like onions not cooked, like the green onions aren't cooked. But again, remember the custard is meant to be unsauteed, obviously, because it needs to cook in the oven. And then anything that you're going to put in the frittata will be your cooked ingredients. So we, over here, if I could get you to follow me, Sheena. Oh no, you gotta come. I need you to, you're gonna have to get up.
I gotta get up. Okay.
So in here, you can see I'm gonna go over this. We have zucchini, asparagus, sauteed onion, and 2 types of chicken. So I have a hot Italian chicken that is more of like a ground hot Italian chicken. And then I took these chicken links and put them in quarters. It's so good, by the way. So good. But then the ground chicken, just gives, I always like to do at least 2 meats in a frittata because you want to have some type of, it's like a surprise. And then the zucchini, I'm telling you, if you think about eggs and zucchini, you're like, no thank you. But I am telling you, I don't know what it is about a frittata and zucchini, but it works like magic. And then asparagus, if you love eating asparagus, but you hate when your urine has a little bit of a scent when you eat asparagus, this is a perfect way to get asparagus in because it's not gonna, it's by sauteing it and cooking it in the eggs and the milk and the cheese, you shouldn't have that strong odor in your urine if you just ate, you know, asparagus. So let me know what you think about that, but that's how I've experienced. But you can see, look at how much, because I'm making 3, I have so much of this. Oh, and there's mushrooms in here. So mushrooms, onions, zucchini, asparagus, and 2 types of chicken sausage. So I'm telling you guys right now, if you wanted to add marinara and throw this over some noodles with some ricotta or some mozzarella, this would make a great Italian meal for someone who doesn't eat meat. Say someone who doesn't eat pork or beef and they just really like chicken, this is a great way to make a really good Italian chicken recipe too. So what's also nice about this is if you wanted to just make one, you could make 1 frittata, save the rest, and have an Italian dinner for the evening. So this is just a great way to feed your family. And if you really wanted to be crazy and use this whole thing for 3 meals, you could do the frittata in the morning. You could make a grilled cheese press with this in the middle, like for lunch, and then you could do the Italian for dinner. So you could really use this base for a whole day of just like amazing meal prep, or tacos, or a quesadilla. That lunch could literally be, you could make a great lunch with 2 of those and turn that into a sandwich, tacos, quesadilla. That's why I love doing this, because it's great to just do all the work and then it just lasts a long time for whatever you want to do. So that's really taking it to the complex level, but for the sake of making 3 frittatas, this is a great way to do it because you do all the work and then you get a lot of reward with 3 huge frittatas. So I did the eggs, I have the meat. Now all I have to do is talk to you about the cheese. I think that people make a big mistake in frittatas when they don't do different cheeses. So this is a Gouda, this is a sharp cheddar, this is a Swiss cheddar, and then I have your typical shredded cheese that you buy from the store just to make it easy for me to do the top. So anything that goes in the custard is gonna be more of your higher end cheese. And then that topping, you just want that golden, cheesy, like almost like a macaroni and cheese topping. And then I throw some slices of tomato on top. And when we come back after it bakes, you'll see how pretty the presentation is. And I'll do a nice little taste test for you. So what I love about the cheeses on the inside is I don't cut them up too small, because there's just something about when you bite into a frittata and you taste that cheese. If you make it too small, like if I were to put this in there, you wouldn't taste the cheese. You would just taste the frittata. But by making the pieces of the cheese inside the frittata like this, and just popping them in there, when you eat the frittata, you're gonna taste the cheese. And I mean, I'm sorry, but if I'm gonna be bad and eat the cheese, I kinda wanna taste it. So this is how I make sure that I get to enjoy that. If I'm, like I said, if I'm gonna eat the fat, I wanna taste the fat. So you can see, even if you do a couple of bigger pieces, but I will say, you probably wanna do like, so you can see, let me just show you. This is the top of a milk container. You can see like, that gives you a good judge of what you want your pieces of cheese to be. And it doesn't take that long to, another good thing to do, I will say, is, you wanna sometimes freeze it for 5 minutes. And that makes it a lot easier. Like this one came out really cold, and look how much easier. It's not as, that Swiss cheddar, it's like a Swiss cheddar. It's definitely got that. I love this cheese. It's like in between a Parmesan and a cheddar. And I love it too, because look how much it's so easy to work with. Where your gouda is just gonna be a little bit more of that softer cheese. But I love the gouda because if you like those bries or those softer cheese, it gives that a really cool element of surprise in there too. And I'm making these frittatas. One's for my dad, one's for my friend's birthday, that I'm taking it to her today. And then one's for me and my friend who's filming. Say yay!
Yay!
So Sheena is one of my dearest friends, and she's here today helping me film. And so I just want to show you though, like that took a total of, I would say 3 minutes maybe. And if I had to tell you how much cheese that was, I would say it was about a cup per frittata. So if you're gonna use 3 kinds of cheeses, you kind of can figure out the math. I'm not gonna use this mixer to mix that. I'm just gonna use a spoon. But you can see, like, it's all in there. And I'm gonna show you guys how I delicately make sure that every frittata gets a little bit of all the goodness. So to go over this again, we had 24 eggs, 1.5 cups of milk, about, I would say 2.5 to 3 cups of cheese. Definitely get creative on the cheese. You don't have to. You can do this if you want. This really is just for the topping. If you spend any extra money on this, it'll be well served with cheese. But if you're on a tight budget, just go with the cheap stuff. Okay, so let me put this over here. One of the things I would like to tell you guys too is seasoning is huge. So what I do is I season, walk with me, Sheena. I season this for the most part with how I really want the frittata to taste. But just to make sure that the eggs and the cheese and the milk have some seasoning, I will do your basic salt and pepper. So this is one of my favorite items in the whole world. Did I say how people call me LPD?
Yes.
Okay, so Little Paula Deen. So this is made by Paula Deen. You can find it on Amazon. And I'm definitely not getting paid to promote this, but one day maybe I will. But this is her salt and pepper I don't know what it's called, like a vessel. And I'm telling you guys, it is like the best thing ever. So I literally, I'm very much an I cook type person. I'm not into measurements. So I will just literally, just for the sake of, I just have to season this custard. I'll just eye a little bit. And we're talking maybe 2 teaspoons of salt and 1 of pepper. And then this is already seasoned with like some of my favorite seasonings, and I wanna just take a minute and do like a sidebar. I love this Suma salts, and you can order this online and have it shipped to your house. It's called www.sumasalts.com. You can follow them on Facebook, Suma Salts 904. They're from Jacksonville, so their area code here in Jacksonville is 904. And on Instagram, it's at Suma Salts. And I found this at my local farmer's market, but I am telling you, there's 2 reasons why I love this. The salt has so much flavor. Whatever it says that's in the salt, you can taste every ingredient. So this one says it's got sea salt, rosemary, basil, and oregano and chive. I mean, that's like amazing. I mean, that is literally the most perfect seasoning ever. Who doesn't love rosemary, basil, oregano, and chive, and sea salt? So when I put this in my hand, let me just like, look at here, and I'll just put a little bit. So you see that right there. And when I taste this, I can taste every single one of those ingredients. And that's what I love about this salt. I'm probably their biggest customer, I'm not gonna lie. Everybody at Christmas got some of these. And the other thing that I love is she and her husband, they spend a lot of time focusing on the bottle and the grinder. And that's one of the things I hate about grinders is if it's plastic or if the grinder's not good, it gets all sweaty and gross and icky in here. And you can see, this is new, so let me show you an old one. Okay, so this lemon pepper I use all the time, so you can see. And look, it's still nice and clean. And I'm just gonna show you how easy it comes out. You can't ever have too much lemon. So this is lemon, pepper, and salt. I mean, you could cook with this and you don't even need anything else. Lemon, pepper, and salt, like it's amazing. So I have so many of these and so many different flavors. There's one that's called Vampire, and it's garlic and salt. Cute, right? There's one that's called Lava, and it's cayenne and salt, and it is amazing on eggs. Like, you don't even need hot sauce on your eggs. You can just use that. So I really highly recommend it, and I'm not getting paid by them either, but maybe now they'll give me some free salts. Sumasalts.com. So they're from Jacksonville, Florida. It's manufactured here in Jacksonville, Florida, and the Facebook is Suma Salts 904, and the Instagram is Suma Salts. So if you end up using it and loving it, please tell me all about it in the comments below. And they will probably be seeing this too, so maybe I'll get some free salts. They're pretty awesome. So, are you guys ready? We're gonna do these frittatas. So I'm gonna carry this over here. I will tell you, invest in some nice measuring cups, because when you do bulk recipes like this, you can be very good about how you disperse everything. So I told you what was in this pot and how to use it. So this is going to the friend that it's her birthday, and because I'm taking it to her house, I did do a throwaway container, because that way, what's one of the worst things about when you get food from people? You have to remember to take them back their container, and that's just, you know, it's not a big deal, but it's nice that she can just enjoy this, eat this, and throw it away. Don't you agree?
I do.
You brought me back this container today.
I did.
So again, you'll see this has actually worked out pretty nice. Right now I'm at 2 cups each, which I didn't plan it to be that perfect, but it really is that perfect. So that could not be, so come over here. if you were doing it with the 8 eggs, I mean, this is exactly what you want it to look like. So if you're not gonna make a huge batch, you want about a cup of concoction and a half. So it's interesting, but that's kind of what you want. You want about a cup and a half of, when I say concoction, it could be bacon, cheese, ham. It could be, if you wanted to even go more sweet, you could do brie, croissants, apples, even add some sugar if you wanted it to be more of like a French toasty type thing. You know, if you even just go on YouTube and look up frittata ingredients, you could do broccoli, you could do, I mean, you could literally do any type of frittata that you want, but just know that about a cup and a half is the perfect part of the sautéed part. And then this is the custard part. So this is where it's very important to pay attention. So if I put this cup into this custard, you know what? These juices, I'm just not gonna, they're so good. That's a lot of the seasoning, so I'm gonna pour those juices in there. So I'm gonna mix this around. So all the cheese has gone to the bottom, okay? There's no cheese in this. So I'm gonna do 1, 2, let me move this over here. Again, if you have to make meals ahead or you have to make food for others, you can make meals for your family, meals for your mom, meals for a friend, and this is a great way to do it. But you can tell that all this that I'm doing, I'm just doing it each one, so getting about 2. Just do that like that. So there's no cheese that went into these. So actually there's 1 cheese that got in this one, which is fine. So see how right now I could bake this if you weren't a huge fan of cheese, but I'm telling you the cheese makes it. Okay? And then I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna really get the cheese in there. So there's a lot of cheese in that one. There's a lot of cheese in that one. This is my friend's, and I know she really likes cheese, so I'm gonna actually I'm gonna rinse my hands really quick. I rinse my hands more than I should, but that's okay. It's probably because I'm being filmed, and I don't want any negative trolls on my page. So I know she really loves cheese, so I'm gonna really load that up with some cheese. By the way, your hands are the best spoon, as long as they're clean. And then I know that Sheena, who's my friend filming, and I love cheese. I mean, it all has a lot of cheese, but the one for my dad, I might just not put as much cheese because he's 70 and he doesn't need as much fat. I'm gonna give more of the fat to my friend and me and my Sheena. So you can kind of eye this too. Like, another thing to think about too, like, I know her family is 4 people, and then Sheena and I will eat this, and my husband and daughter are coming home tomorrow, so we can have leftovers. And then my dad and I'm gonna give this home for him to go home. So remember, your hands are your best spoon. So you want to just get in here, if it grosses you out, use a spoon. But you want to just get in here and kind of make sure that all the ingredients are kind of, he does have some good cheese in here too, so that's good. And then we have plenty of cheese. Let me just make sure she's got plenty of cheese. She does. And then the cheese is going to go on the top too. Okay, so you can kind of see that, I don't know if you can see that, Sheena, but these are all, there's just like a little bit of space. You always want to have a little bit of space or it's going to just kind of get a little crazy in the oven. I will say, if you're worried about that, put some tinfoil down on the bottom of your oven. That way, if it does boil over or does go over, because if you're new to this, that's probably something that you'll experience and you'll be like, oh my gosh, it's so big. So just put some tinfoil below and then you don't have to worry about your oven getting any mess. So I'm gonna stick these in the oven. I'll show you one and then we'll turn the camera off. We'll come back when they're almost done and we'll put that cheese on top with the tomatoes. We'll broil them and make them look really pretty. And then I'll probably just take something pretty and green to put on top. So just to show you how I put these in, so that if you're afraid of the oven, because some people are, and especially if you're a teenager or a college student, once you get that first part on, you just kind of slip it in, and I always say go to the middle and put the thickest part, if it's a pan like this, put the thickest part right in the middle. And then because I have two on that, I'll put this one because it's not a pan like that, it's just a rectangle. I'll put it like that. So if you could come over here and just kind of see, we're gonna put these in. When we come back and check on them and add the cheese and the tomatoes, if I feel like one needs to be cooked a little bit more on one side, I can just adjust those pans and we'll go over that in a minute. But for now, we shall be back. And I don't know about you, but this is gonna be good, right?
Yeah.
I should have let you taste the sausage, but you'll get to taste
That's
it a little
good.
bit. All right, see you soon, bye. Hi, we're back. So you thought someone was here, didn't you? Because I said hi. So those are our dogs. So I will bring these out and you can kind of see what we're working with. They've been in there for about 20 minutes at 375. I have a convection going, so I would say 375 is probably good either way, but just you kind of really need to know your oven, and I always work with convection. You can do just regular bake, but I do find that if you have convection, is it convection? Convection, yes, convection. That's where the air is constantly moving. It does work better with frittatas. So if you're new to that term, just ask me in the comments below and I'll go over it with you. So you kind of come over, you can kind of see, I just want to kind of show them the consistency. So see how like this is a little like it's got like a little bit of a jelly to it. So that means it's got just about like, I would say, honestly, these are done because as I turn off the oven and let them cool down inside the oven with the oven door cracked, they are literally going to finish. It's pretty perfect. So about, I'd say we let those go about 22 minutes. Yeah, these are perfect. So you could literally be done and you could just serve it as is. But I do like to make it a little bit prettier presentation. So I have 3 kinds of cheeses in here too. So I'm just gonna sprinkle some cheese on top. Oh, before I keep doing this, I'm gonna close this. And I'm gonna change this to broil. Broil convection, okay? Do you know the difference between broil and bake, Sheena?
Well, broil gets really hot.
Yes.
And isn't the heat just from the top?
Very good.
Oh my
Look at you.
Look at me.
Yes, it's just the heat from the top, so it's searing the top. But with the convection, it does make it a little bit not so abrasive because it's not just, it's kind of moving that air around still, but the heat is still just coming from the top. Good job. Look at you, see, you know more than what you realize. Probably from spending so much time with me, honestly.
Well, I did used to cook
Oh, you did.
when I had kids to feed.
When they couldn't fend for themselves.
Exactly.
Okay, so you can just see, I'm not like covering these too much, but just enough to give it what I want it to look like when we're done. And you'll see. So these 3 types of cheeses are just like it's a Mexican blend, a mozzarella, and then a Colby. Then I sliced 1 tomato, and I'm just gonna these are for my friend and you and me, Sheena. Sheena and
Yay.
myself. And then this one's gonna be for my dad. And he doesn't need as many tomatoes. I'm trying to go lower carb for him anyways. Tomatoes have quite a lot of natural sugars. And then, I don't know about you guys, but this brand, Gourmet Garden, I really like it because it's fresh, like I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, they stay fresh for 4 weeks, and it's literally like, I mean, it really does taste like you're putting completely like chopped parsley.
Is it lightly dried or?
Yeah, and it's so nice because it's just, you don't have to do any of the work. It does, you know, dried seasoning is a very good thing, but fresh seasoning is even better. And so this is like the perfect complement between the two, because you don't have to do the work and you don't have to worry about using it all. Like I hate when I buy parsley and I only use it for 1 recipe. So this lasts like for 4 weeks, and I pretty much use it on anything I cook just to give it that prettiness. And then what I'm gonna do, because every tomato tastes better with salt, is I'm gonna use my Sumo Salt Brunch. You can see I use this one a lot because it's almost empty. And this is sea salt, thyme, chives, and fennel. And I'm just gonna put this just on the tomatoes, which is, I don't know if you guys have seen some of my shows before, but I've talked about tomatoes a lot. You can make a vinaigrette with just tomatoes and salt for your salad. You just do like some house seasoning on some tomatoes, let them, they'll just, there's gonna be all this water that comes off of them, and you can literally, let me show you something. You could literally take this strainer, put tomatoes all around here, like I'll show you what I mean, like that, and salt them, put tomatoes on, salt them, put tomatoes on, salt them. So say like 3 tomatoes, put this over a bowl, and all that juice is gonna come into the bowl. You add some olive oil and lemon to that, and you have an amazing tomato vinaigrette that is just gonna make your salad. Everyone's gonna be like, where'd you get this dressing? You're gonna be like, it's just oil, lemon, and tomatoes. Like literally just the juice of tomatoes. And it's so good. Like the acid kind of does some of the tricks. I don't know how to explain it, but it just works. A chef would probably be able to tell you all that and why, but I just figured it out naturally. So I'm gonna put these right back in. Now, you're gonna ask me, how do you make sure that these all fit? Because we're broiling, so I'm gonna try to, I don't think they're all gonna go in. So what I'm gonna do is just put the one that's for tomorrow on the bottom, which is fine, because then tomorrow when I heat it up, I'll warm the oven to 200, stick it in there for about 10, 12 minutes, and then broil it right at the end. So as a matter of fact, I'm not even gonna do this one because it doesn't make sense to do it. So I'm gonna let that one be and do that broil sear tomorrow. And then these are gonna go in. Make sure you always use a timer when you do broil, because you will forget. You'll say, I'm not gonna forget, and you will forget. So just do 5, start, and we'll be back as soon as those are done.